souls out there, and welcome to Breaking the Silence Together podcast. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jeannie Perez, and I am the founder of an organization called You Are Not Alone. And what the organization entails about is we support mental illness and addiction. And the way that we support individuals with mental illness and addiction is by providing all services, professional services, from a therapist to a counselor, and even advocates for free. We meet the individuals wherever they're at in their journey, whether if my organization can help them or not, we'll still meet them where they're at in their journey and find them the help that they need with our organization or with someone else if that's what they need. More care than what we can provide, we will do that for them. And with that being said, today's talk is going to really resonate with a lot of listeners. It's not just about us as individuals struggling or our partners or our loved ones struggling. It's just about individual souls dealing with mental illness or an addiction go through. My topic today is starved while attached, when you were struggling and no one noticed. And what I'm trying to say by that is, I know a lot of us deal with mental illness, or we might deal with some type of an addiction, but we're the ones that always show up strong. We're the ones that always are giving the love out. We're the ones that, no matter what, are supporting someone else, but really at the end of the day, we're the ones that really need someone to show up for us, or we're the ones that need that support or that love, but we're not getting it. We're giving it out, but we're not giving it. But deep down inside, we're the ones that are falling apart. If you can resonate with that, or you know someone that you think is falling into that, then this talk today is definitely for you to listen to and maybe get some tools and resources for it that you can use for yourself or someone else that you might know that could benefit from this. What I want to start out saying is, this was brought to my attention, and the way that it was put by the person that wanted to share it was that even though sometimes, we try to do everything as we can for our loved ones or someone that's really important in our life, we try to do the best that we can for them. We always try to support them when they need our support. We give them all the love that we can. And we just always show up. No matter how we're feeling or no matter really what's going on with us. We just push our own selves to the side. We don't even, tune to ourselves, like really tune to ourselves and what we need. Take care of ourselves with our needs. And with our trauma and our pain, we put that to the side just to make sure that we're there for someone else. And the reason why she brought this to my attention was because this was something that she was struggling with for a long time. She basically wore a mask every day, and she didn't show exactly what she was going through. Like, she went through some really deep trauma in her life, but she didn't show that because the person that she was dealing with also went through a lot in their life. So she was trying to be the strong one to hold everything together by showing up, and by me showing up is she made sure like every day she was trying to be the positive one, or she was trying to be the one that always kept the peace and everything, and always try to say, let's think of things in a positive way today, or let's do this. Like, she always tried to keep the peace and did everything the best that she can for this individual, showing them support all the time. But she was the one breaking down within. She was isolated. She was taking all her pain and her trauma that she's been trying to deal with for so many years. She was hiding it. She was trying to deal with it in her own way. And it came to a point where she had a really bad breakdown. And unfortunately, she was hospitalized for a little bit. And that was the only time that she was able to really take care of herself. When she was actually put away, she was put in a facility and she was taking care of her health because she had broke down. Like, so many years she was trying to hide this, and she was isolating herself and her trauma. Her body just overwhelmed and just couldn't take no more. She was showing up for this other person every day supporting this other person because she thought that was what she was supposed to do. She was in a relationship. She thought that was something that she was supposed to do. But this other person was not noticing what she was going through, even though there was some red flags, like she said. They just brushed it off. All they were caring about was themselves. So eventually she did have a breakdown, and that's why she wanted me to share this, because she said if she only would have just paused, a little earlier in time, if she would have just paused and realized that showing up for this other person was not what she was supposed to do. No, she wasn't forced where she had to do that, but she just felt as though that was something that in a relationship you're supposed to do for your partner. You're supposed to show up regardless of what's going on with you. So she said, if only I would have paused, I wouldn't have had the breakdown that I had. She had a really bad breakdown. And she said, or if only my partner would have just realized what I was going through, just like I was there for them, if they would only have put that same time into me and helped me out with my stuff, But instead, what she was getting back from her partner, even though she was showing up and supporting them all the time, all she kept getting was the silence, emotional shutdown, or criticism, or they were just saying, oh, you're just too much, you overacted over nothing, you're just taking stuff too serious, you're overacting for no reason. So those were the kind of things that she was getting back, but she wasn't giving that back. She was actually supporting and loving this person, really being there for this person, helping him with his trauma and his problems, but she wasn't getting no help with hers. She was just being silenced out on everything. And she thought that it was just really important that I shared that, because she said, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. It doesn't just have to be in a relationship based. With her it wasn't a relationship. It doesn't mean that everyone that goes through this has to be in a relationship. It could be just another person with a loved one, with a sibling, with a parent, or just a friend. Where they feel as though they just have to be there all the time for this individual, but they're not worrying about themselves. They're just doing everything to take care of this person, but they're abandoning themselves. And she said maybe someone out there will be listening to you and realize that we have to stop and pause, and we have to take care of ourselves first. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't help someone else. Because we're breaking down within. Our brains and our nervous systems can only take us so much. And I know that you don't realize that a lot of individuals that are dealing with this, they don't feel that is it because their adrenaline is running so fast because they're trying to show up all the time for this other person that they have no time to even realize how bad their situation is, how bad their body is just breaking down, and they're not realizing it until they have a breakdown. Unfortunately, like this individual that is sharing this information, she had her breakdown was really, really bad. So she's just hoping that someone is listening and really take it serious and realize that you have to show up for yourself first. You have to take care of your needs first. Whether it's a trauma that's put you into mental illness, or it's a trauma or grief that's put you into an addiction, it's really important that we really come in tune with ourselves and figure out what's going on with ourselves first. Help ourselves, show up for ourselves before we try to do that for someone else. Because we're just abandoning ourselves, and eventually our bodies are going to break down. Our bodies can only take us so much. And it's just so important that we take care of ourselves and we really reach out, for the help that we need so that we can heal in a healthy way. And we can take care of someone else. If you want to support someone else, there's nothing wrong with that. We're supposed to help others. But first we got to help ourselves, If you know someone is dealing with a mental illness and you're dealing with the same thing too, or maybe you're dealing with a mental illness and you know someone is dealing with an addiction, yeah, of course I'm sure that you're trying to help each other. But the main thing here is you need to help yourself first. You need to get healthy first, whether it's from your mental illness or an addiction first, so that you can help this other individual, full force in a healthy way, in a good way, because as long as you're healthy, you're thinking right, you're clear, and you have a clear path on what is it you're trying to do for yourself. What does recovering thing for you. What does it look like for you to heal in a proper way, in a healthy way? What is recovery to you? Or what is healing for you? You have to figure that out first and walk those steps before you try to help someone else walk along their steps. And we're just hoping that someone really is able to take this information and use it. Or if you're listening, someone that might be going through this, help them realize that we have to pause with ourselves first. We're trying to break down, we're trying to stop and break down from the chain of us waiting all the time until the end, where we can't wait no longer. We're trying to stop that. Hopefully with this talk today, someone that's listening to me will be able to break that chain and say, okay, no, I'm not going to wait until I can't take this any longer before reaching out to help, or I'm not going to wait until, I hit rock bottom to reach out for help. I'm going to reach out for help now. I'm going to pause now and get the help that I need, because it's so important that you take care of yourself first before worrying about anything else or anyone else. Worry about yourself first. Get the help that you need first. Get healthy. And you have to make that first step. You have to really just realize what is healing to you and get the help that you need. Reach out. What is recovery to you, and get that recovery help. That's that first step that you need to get on that recovery journey or that healing journey. It's like we always are trying to always meet someone where they're at all the time, or trying to help someone else all the time, because that's just nature for a lot of people. It's just nature wanting to help others, even though we're all messed up. We're always trying to help others, get them where they need to get to, even though that we haven't even done nothing with ourselves. We're still stuck. And I know for a lot of us it's hard to wrap our heads around it, where we just have to push away certain things and just focus on ourselves, and I get it. Because I know I've had that situation a lot, where I've always put myself to the side and just trying to help other people get where they need to get to, help them out. It's just part of my nature. I've always been like that, and I've always be like that, where I'm always wanting the best for everybody else, regardless of what's going on in my life. I always try to do the best for everybody else, and I get it. It's hard to break that cycle. But when it comes to mental illness and when it comes to an addiction, it's really important that we heal ourselves first before trying to get healing or support for someone else. And I know that there's always someone in your circle that will help you out. Just open up, let them know what's going on with you. Let them know what you've been hiding, what you've been in silence about. And I'm sure they might even know somewhere or someone where you can go and get the help. It might be someone in your community. It might be an organization like mine. There's always, when you're talking to other people, there's always resources and tools out there that other people are already using or have already used, and they've helped them. So if you already seen success in someone else, or someone knows of someone that's already went through recovery and it was great for them, or they got healing for the mental illness and everything is working out for them, there's nothing wrong with trying that out. But it's like I always say, everyone's healing and everyone's recovery is never going to be the same, because we're all individuals. We're all different people within our needs. Our mental illnesses stages and our journeys are all different. Our recovery stages and journey with recovery and addiction is different. Every individual is different. So what might work for one person might not work out for the other one, but doesn't mean that you can't try. You have to try to know if it's going to work or not. So it's really important to try the first thing, that's reaching out for help. And for any of you out there that don't know, my website is www.you'renotalone.online. Please go on there. We have tons of tools and resources for free. Check out our services. See if any of those services what you're looking for, if it's a good fit for you. Because it's important that it's a fit for you. It's not just telling you go on my website, call us about one of our services. What fits you? What are you looking for? What kind of help you're looking for? What type of recovery you're looking for? We have to be a fit for you. And if we are, reach out to us. Our chat box is monitored 24/7 by live person. Our email is monitored by live person. Our 800 number is monitored by live person. So you will get someone. Just reach out to us. If you're leaving a message or you're texting or you're emailing us, please leave us a message on what is it that you're looking for. How can we help you? You don't have to give us your name. You can be anonymous, but please let us know what type of help you're looking for so that we can make sure that we get the right person to return your text, your call, your email, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we get you on the right journey with the right person from our team. We don't want to guess anything. And just it's so important that we just really realize that it's real. It's real. It's the pain that a lot of individuals deal with, the trauma, the grief, the addictions. All that is real. And I know that most of the time, a lot of us are in isolation. Physically, we might not be in isolation. Physically, we might be out there in the community. We might be doing whatever it is every day. We might be showing up for someone else every day, smiling, laughing, supporting someone else every day. But in isolation, our emotions, our pain, we're isolated. We're breaking down, invisible. Our breakdown, our emotions, and our trauma is invisible. We're isolated. Not our image, not us as a person, but our emotions and our within is invisible, and it's bad. And that's what I want a lot of people to understand and really listen when I say that you never know who is struggling with an illness. You never know who's struggling with an addiction because they cover it up so bad. They cover it up really, really good. It could be the person sitting right next to you right now. It could be the person you've been talking to all your life. And you'll never know. Unless they tell you, or unless, hopefully, God forbid, until there's a breakdown, an OD, then that's when we all realize what's going on with certain people. But like I always say, sometimes we just have to really, really just care a little stronger. We just have to really dig in a little bit more with certain people, because even though most of the time they're isolated within, not physically, but within their souls, I always say there's always some type of flag. There's always some type of red flag. We just really have to dig for it. We just have to ask more questions. We have to really look around more on what they're doing, what they're saying, their actions, their body language. We just got to be more in tune with people, with our loved ones, our friends. We just have to really, really communicate more. And a lot of us just on the phone all day or on the computer all day. We get lost in our own lives every day, all day long, that sometimes these things with our loved ones and our friends are just missed, And I'm not saying that, if you're busy, it's a bad thing because you're not watching what your loved ones. No, I'm not saying that. That's exactly not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even though we all really have a lot going on in our lives on a daily basis, because I know we all do. You don't even have to have a business like I do to really be busy. Just life in general is busy for everyone, and I get it. But, even no matter how busy we are every day, I really do think that it's really important that we just really dig in a little bit deeper, ask more questions, with our children, with our loved ones, our siblings, our partners, our friends. Just dig in. It's never, no question is a dumb question. I always say that. So if you ever feel like you need to ask them something or question something that they're doing or question something that you saw or just question their body language, question it. Because if you got that feeling inside you, your gut feeling is telling you to question something, just do it. Don't brush it off or don't feel as though that's not your place to cross on. Sometimes we got to cross boundaries. We really do. With our loved ones, our children. Sometimes we just have to. Whether they like it or not, sometimes we just have to. And you crossing that boundary and just even them getting upset with you for that quick second might just be saving their life. Or might just be opening the doors for them from being isolated all these years. So, please, just care a little bit more. Just question a little bit more. just be nosy. Even if they get mad, just be nosy about it and ask all the questions. Your gut feeling is telling you to ask something, just ask for it. Just ask. Regardless if they get mad or not, just do it. Because you never know what that question might change. And with that being said, the drug and addiction and mental illness, these numbers, I just sit here sometimes and I get numb to myself just thinking about the numbers, because I just looked at them before I got on this talk, and I was just thinking right now, like these numbers is just really, really bad. They're bad. And no matter how fast I look at them again, they're changing. And they're going up on, individuals with mental illness as us losing them to a mental illness. Losing an individual to an addiction. Every second of the day we're losing someone. Just like every second of the day we're gaining a diagnosis in mental illness, and we're gaining someone else being addicted to something new. So no matter if we're gaining or losing, the battle is a fight. The battle is a fight. Because those numbers are always going up. No matter how you look at it, whether it's being diagnosed, a new addiction, or a loss. Those numbers are just jumping and jumping. No pausing. This need of help, support, resources, tools, professional help is needed worldwide. And it's just needed really bad. And it's so heartbreaking because no matter how big my team is, and even though my tools and my resources are available worldwide, that would never be enough. That would never be enough. Because I don't care where you're sitting at on the map. Wherever you're sitting at on the map, your community has been affected by either an addiction or mental illness. Every second of the day is being affected. I don't care where you're at on the map. You're being affected with it. Maybe you as a person, individual, you as a person might not be getting affected by it as yourself. But I'm sure someone that's dealing with mental illness or an addiction. And I'm sure that your community where you at are being affected every second of the day, either with a new diagnosis or loss of mental illness, or a new person being addicted to something, or a new loss to an addiction. Because this need is really, really humongous worldwide. And I tell everybody every day I speak to someone, or if I'm at an event, I always say, if your heart is in it and you want to volunteer, reach out to me. It really doesn't, it's not about us. If you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, it's not about whose business is bigger, or who can get the most clients, or who can whose business can really get the name bigger out there. No, it's not about that. It's not about that, because I'm not in competition with no one. And anyone that knows me knows that that's who I am. I'm not in competition with no one. I don't need to be in competition with no one. That's the main thing. Because it's not about me. It's about those beautiful souls out there that need the help. Individuals are struggling with this mental illness every day with no support. They just breathing. They not living. Same thing with the beautiful souls with an addiction. Out there with no support. They don't even know where to turn. A lot of them don't even have a place or anywhere to put their head down on. They just walking, breathing, day in and day out. They not living. They just breathing. They just trying, it's them fighting against the world. They just trying to figure it out themselves with no help, nowhere to turn. And every day the one dealing with mental illness is just digging deeper into that dark hole. And the one that's walking around with this an addiction is just getting deeper and deeper into their addiction as the day goes by. They're fading further and further away from the world. And I just say, if you want to volunteer, your heart's in it. If you have a license in therapy, if you're a therapist, you have a license in counseling, Or, if you just want to be an advocate, reach out to me. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. Let's help these beautiful souls get the help that they need. Or just push our information out. Put it out there in your community. There's just free services out there. Our toll-free number, whatever it takes, or our link to our website. Push this information out. Let's get this out where no one ever has to be in need of, ever go out without getting help for their mental illness or get help with an addiction. I know we can't help everyone because some people don't want to be helped. But 98% of them do want to get help. And those are the ones that do want to get help because they have to want to get help for it to really, really be a healthy healing or a healthy recovery. So if we don't cross anyone's boundaries, they don't want to get help, we respect them. But, I just want to push this out for the ones that do want to get help. That 98% that really, really are looking for the help but don't know where to get it. This is what information, this is who I show up for. And I'm just hoping that we can help them. Let's just push this information out and get them the help. Give them this hand, give them the support, give them the ears that they need. Maybe they just need someone to listen to them. They want to feel like they're being heard, like they're being seen. Let's do that. Let's do that for them. If your heart is where mine is and that's helping them, then reach out. Let's make it happen. And if you're listening and you're dealing with a mental illness or you're dealing with an addiction, please just do that. Make the first step. Reach out for help. Get on my website. Let's see how we can help you. Let us meet you where you're at in your journey. If not, if we can't help you, we'll find you the place or the person that can. We will get you where you need to get to. Whether it's with us or with another organization or another individual, we will get you that help. And again, www.youarenotalone.online. Go on there. Everything that you need is on that site. And if you're listening, and if it's that you're listening for someone else or you're trying to get information because you might be a caregiver or you just know that someone is dealing with this and you're just trying to figure it out for them, go on my website. There's tools and resources for caregivers. And if you can't find it, please reach out to us. We'll get you whatever you need, whatever information that you're looking for to help you out wherever you're at with this individual. We will be able to meet you as a caregiver where you're at on your journey and get you the help that you need also so that you can get the help and heal together and meet you. Maybe you're not understanding something that's happening with this individual. Just reach out to us and we'll get you the information that you need. We'll jump on a call with you, whatever it is, so that we can help you so that you can go ahead and put these tools and resources together to help yourself and help this individual. With that being said, I just want to say, if you're in a community that may benefit from our resources, might benefit from our services, please reach out to us. We will get you the information that you need and you can share with your community, or if you want to have an event in your community because you think this is something that they really can benefit from, they don't have this out where you're at, and you want to provide it to whoever wants it, let us know. We'll send one of our team members out to your location to do the event with you, or we will send you all the information, the resources and everything that you can do, and you can throw this event for for your community on behalf of us. We will meet you wherever you're at in your journey if you want to make this happen in your community. Or if this is something that you would like to start doing in your community, we would be more than happy to bring you on, show you the ropes, show you how to get started. We'll collaborate, we'll become as one, but you'll be able to do this and run this for us in your community. Please reach out to us. With that being said, I just want to close our share today with saying, my statement, and I really mean it. And I'm hoping that really someone else, because this is something that I said to myself for many years when I was dealing with my loved one going through the mental illness and everything. I always said to myself, it's okay to not be okay, because it really is. It's okay whether it's you, your loved one, a family, whatever it is. It's okay to not be okay, because there is no normal. There is no norm. But what's not okay is for anyone to ever think that they have to struggle in silence alone. That never. Again, until next time, please take care of yourself and your loved ones.